What is going on, Miami Dolphins fans? Welcome back to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and day 2 of training camp for your Miami Dolphins is completed. So we are going to spend today's video recapping, highlighting everything from today's action. But before we get started, your one job for today, let's fill up the comment section with the words Fins Up. Give your thoughts on the players and practice and everything as well. But I want everyone that listens, show your support by just commenting Fins Up. Let's load that puppy up with Fins Up comments. But let's jump into Mike McDaniel's media availability, because one of the things he talked about today was really the only snippet that we got in regards to the offensive line. And the idea of that was when they signed Connor Williams this offseason, they signed him to play the offensive line, not just center where his current job is kind of penciled in at, and we'll see how it goes. But they didn't really necessarily close the door on the idea, like, you know what, as the season gets closer, we might find ourselves kind of shopping around or maybe signing a veteran free agent center. JC Tretter maybe is still available. We'll see how long that lasts. But I think this isn't necessarily how Connor Williams does at center as much as how Liam Eichenberg and other guys do at left guard. If they think one of those guys can hold down the spot and be good at it, Connor Williams stays at center. If they think, you know what, left guard's going to be an issue, we sign a guy like Tretter, we bring someone else in to play center, move Connor Williams back to his natural position of left guard, they could do that. So that's what I'm taking from those comments today. But Mike McDaniel also talked about who's going to be calling the plays. And this should not be news. I said that yesterday for a couple of things. But based on last year's debacle, when you didn't know which of the offensive coordinators was technically calling the plays, or were they funneling it to the quarterback's coach and then him delivering it to Tua? We got answers today. It doesn't need to be a big secret. Mike McDaniel is going to call the plays, and he's going to give the play call directly to Tua, who's then going to disseminate that information like he should. So the breath of fresh air continues with Mike McDaniel. And one more thing from his media availability. We talked yesterday about easing players in, limiting some reps for veterans. Sounds like Melvin Ingram was like, no, you know, I just want to get my reps. I'm here to play. I want to practice. And that's great veteran leadership. Guys like Jalen Phillips, Andrew Van Ginkel, they can learn from a guy like that. And Mike McDaniel went out of his way as well today to say, we knew Ingram can be a good pass rusher. I didn't realize how good he was at setting the edge and in the run game. So the more you can do, and I kind of thought of Ingram maybe as like a pass rush specialist in this defense, but who knows? He might find himself with more of a role moving forward on all downs versus just third down pass rushing downs as well. But let's jump into today's practice notes, and got to kick it off with the orange jersey update, and it went to Jaylen Waddle. So Waddle was also Barry Jackson's star of the day in the article that he puts out following each day's practice as well. But he had a leaping grab from Teddy that I'm going to show you guys here in a second, crossing routes from Tua, numerous other catches that went for chunk yardage in both the 7-on-7s and the 11s. I'm going to throw up that video right now that he had from Teddy, because you'll see it here. You've probably already seen it, but I'll show you anyways. The throw's up. It's a little bit behind him, but Jaylen Waddle skies, goes up, gives everybody a little bit of flex. I'll show it one more time here just because of how nice of a catch that was. It's not against the top tier cornerbacks by any means, but when it's thrown behind and a guy like Jaylen Waddle, who we see more so as get the ball in his hands and let him create, when he is out there making jump ball type catches, the more you can do. I just talked about it with Ingram. The more that you can do, the better you are for this team. Let's talk a little bit about the running backs as well, because there's not pads right now. The first padded practice is going to be on Saturday. So it's really hard to try to evaluate offensive line play, running back play. But Chase Edmonds was seen bursting through holes, showing good burst. Every single run play that he had went for positive yards. Also put his receiving skills on display at practice today. Went on to talk about Tyreek Hill. Once again, another star of practice, numerous chunk yardage plays. Did have a drop. We know that going in with Tyreek Hill. We're going to have to live with a couple of drops here and there. But what he provides can kind of mask a little bit of that drop issue. Did have a 45 air yard completion. I know a lot of people love the air yard stats from Tua, so you can put that one in the bin today as another successful play. He had another great day at camp. But Javon Holland, Two more pass breakups today. Was allegedly on a perfectly placed ball to Eric Ezukanma on the sideline, kind of like a high pointing of the ball, taking advantage of the size that he has. And Tua had great ball placement. Ezukanma made a good, almost would-be catch. But as he was coming down with it, Javon Holland pops it out, makes the play. So good offensive play, great defensive play. But Javon Holland is showing us time and time again. We saw it his rookie year, and we're seeing it through camp already. He is that type of safety that just happens to always be around the ball. You love those guys as safeties. I mean, Minka's kind of doing it with the Steelers right now, but guys like Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu is just always around the ball, always making plays. And that's what we're seeing so far from Holland. So that's a great report as well. Moving on to quarterbacks, Tua overall reported sharp, accurate, didn't throw any interceptions. Towards the end of practice, had two more questionable throws that maybe should have been intercepted, but were dropped by both Nick Needham and Brandon Jones. But overall, good day from Tua. A couple of additional running back notes here. Myles Gaskin, he needs to have his name heard often in order, in my opinion, to probably make this team, but credited with a couple of solid runs. Sony Michel had a chunk yardage run. And usually when we think of Sony Michel, we're thinking short yardage, goal line situations. The fact that he's getting chunk yardage runs also bodes well for him. A couple of guys that are former 7th-round picks and undrafted free agents here. Jared Dokes picked up a first down in the receiving game on a pass from Teddy Bridgewater, but not so good. Zaquandre White had a drop in today's practice. And one drop, not the end of the world, but when you're on the roster bubble at the running back position where you're already going to be keeping Alec Ingold, spots are limited. You've got to shine when your number is called. Also, we heard from a new tight end today, Hunter Long, credited with having one of his better practices as a Miami Dolphin. So great news right now with Gaskin playing on the franchise tag. Multiple catches with good gains. He could make a guy like Adam Shaheen expendable. Because you talk about the numbers game again. Gasecki's making it. Long's making it. If Long can really emerge and become that number 2 tight end, do you end up keeping one less tight end? Because once again, you're keeping that extra fullback. Spots are going to be limited. We see it every single year. And speaking of a fringe guy, Preston Williams credited with a drop today. Veteran guy, been around, but at the end of the day, you need to shine with how many people are in this room, because the next guy we're going to talk about, Lynn Bowden, seen working with the returners. So that tells me right there, they're trying to find a way. Yeah, he's probably good at the return game, but the more you can do, the more that he can be asked to do. He can line up in the backfield. He can play receiver. He can be in the return game. If they find his skill set useful, a guy like Lynn Bowden makes this team, whereas a guy like Preston Williams, who I don't want him returning kicks. You don't want him returning kicks. If he's going to be dropping the ball, they're finding guys that will be able to catch the ball. A bit more on the defense provided by Travis Wingfield. Noted that Zach Sealer, Christian Wilkins, and Raekwon Davis all look good up front, especially in that running game against the run. And then Trill Williams, another cornerback, taking advantage of Byron Jones being on the PUP list, getting some extra reps, had another pass breakup today as well. I also like that he said that Channing Tindall is an absolute blur because of how fast he is, and he is making these splash plays. He's flashing on the field, and that's exactly what we need to see him in practice. We need to see him do that in practice because, in my opinion, he doesn't need to be the do-it-all guy right now, rookie year. That's not what he needs to be. He needs to flash, show that he can be the guy moving forward. But this is perfect for what we need to see him doing. And we did get a video of Channing Tindall. It's just a drill, nothing major here. He's going to be hitting the dummy, kind of like an engage, a disengage, and then make your way to the ball carrier. So right there, good rep from Tindall. Like I said, we're not really seeing too much there, but wanted to throw it out there since we had access to it. And then in regards to player availability in general, Michael Dieter and Adam Butler did miss practice, allegedly due to injury. So we'll have to monitor that, see how that's moving forward. And we talked about guys, veteran guys, getting limited reps, some days off. We saw that today from both Teron Armstead and Raheem Mostert, a couple of guys that they signed in free agency earlier this year, given the day off. And like I mentioned, Byron Jones remains on the PUP list. And I'm going to wrap things up here with one little nugget from the player media availability. I didn't get through everything so far today, but I wanted to get this video out. But I love what Tyreek Hill said because he kept the hype train he kept the wheels on that hype train just rolling on Thursday when he said that opposing defenses will be scared shitless when they have to line up against Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. So, here we are. Let's just embrace the fact that Tyreek Hill is here to make a name for himself. He's in South Beach. He's got the spotlight on him. He single-handedly brought a lot of new national media to the Dolphins. But hey, we're here. Let's just embrace it. Let's scare the shit out of some defenses, Dolphins fans. But with that, that's what I've got for a day two recap. Like I said, in the comments, give me your thoughts, but let's hear a fins up as well. And until next time, Dolphins fans, fins up.